beasts, aren't they? Chuffed to bits. The smallest little thornback. I'll just concentrate on not losing the rod over the side. And his eyes. He's got amazing eyes. Doggy in the boat. Covered in mullet. There's a bit of weight to that, you know. And that's what we want, don't we? We don't want the same all the time. We want something different, a good old show. Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm in the workshop, beavering around. You might hear the odd crackle and pop because the log burner's on. It's December, it's cold. But what am I up to today? Well, I'd like to share with you my go-to boat rig. It's a downtiding rig and it's quite simply a running ledger. A running ledger with detachable hook snoods. And you know, for variations in the tide, you can go short hook snood for slack and then longer hook snood for when the tide's flowing. But I tend to stick with a 3 to 4 foot hook snood. So if I make a 3 foot for slack tide and a 5 foot maybe for when the tide's absolutely racing to give that better bait presentation, it's all good. Very simple, won't take long. We'll only be here a few minutes. I've got marks on the bench as usual. Watched any of my other films, you understand the format. If you don't, then please check them out. But first things first, a £100 Sakuma rig body. Just for durability and, you know, to make this a nice tough rig, because when on the boat with, especially in the Solent, strap eels, you know, they twist up. But hopefully this rig helps to alleviate that a little bit. So 30 inches of rig body, and the first end that we're going to tie something on, an 85-pound power swivel. Very simple knot. 1, 2, 3. 3 turns round, pass through the loop nearest to the eye, and back in 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Just draw it up slightly, but don't pull it tight. I use a weight with the hook to give me something to purchase against. Wet the knot and then cinch it down. Because it's £100 rig body, you can be a bit brutal with this. And I say brutal, you don't want to damage anything, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. If you've used £100 rig body before, it takes a little bit of abuse, doesn't it? And then trim the tag end. So all we've got is an 85-pound Gemini power swivel and 30 inches ish of Sakuma rig body. Onto that we thread a teeny tiny 4mm bead. In it goes. A sliding weight carrier, and I'm going to show this to the camera now. Sliding weight carrier onto the line, and another teeny tiny bead. Another 4mm teeny tiny bead. I say teeny tiny because these fat sausage fingers find 4mm beads quite tricky. And then to make all of that captive, another 85-pound power swivel. 1, 2, 3. 1. Spectator sport, tying knots. It's horrible weather outside. I'm glad to be in the workshop. And then cinch that knot down. Make sure it's cinched nice and tight, there's no slippage. And trim off the excess. And that is the rig body. That is the hardest part of the rig. 30 inches of line, power swivels at either end, 2 teeny tiny beads, and a sliding weight carrier. That is it. That is, and you can coil that up. I usually have a little bag with, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these in, and if I just quickly coil that up and tied it up, just take a couple of turns. That, if you was to put it in a bag, that's your rig body. And you keep that separate. And now to make that effective and to be able to fish, I'm just going to hang this up out of the way. We need to make hook snood. Now I'm using £40 amnesia and I'm going to go for a 3-foot hook snood. This would deal with pretty much any eventuality of anything you're going to catch south coast of England. Affectionately, I do call this my Solent Rig. That's not going to stick because people use all kinds of different rigs. Sakuma Manta, let's have a look, see what the spec is, because I like these. 540 Manta hooks, Sakuma Manta 4.0, and we're changing nothing, same knot again, no variation, no change, nice and easy to remember, same knot all the way round, 3 turns, through the eye, back in on itself, 3 turns, pull and snug down. You can use whatever knot you like, a normal, just check to make sure that it's seated right. So any knot you like, if you're going to use your own variation, it makes no difference. So that is just, I use single hooks, don't use pennels, easier for unhooking. So we've got a 3-foot hook snood with a hook on the end. You could tie that directly onto that swivel, and by doing that you reduce your complications. But I like to do just one thing slightly different. I use Trident Termalinks because I like them, because they're effective, because they work, and they're cheap. So I've got 2 different colours, Mark Williams sea angling colours. Trident have very kindly made some of their components in Mark Williams sea angling colours. How cool is that? That's not true. Just happens to be the same. So for my short hook snoods, I use blue. For my long hook snoods, I use yellow. And I'll make a few of each. So I'm just going to tie this Termalink on. We all dwell a pause expectantly for the knot to complete. Use my weight to give myself something to pull against. Seated nicely and trim the tag end. So now we have got a rig body made out of £100 mainline mono. We've got a 3-foot hook snood with a Sakuma Manta 540 hook on the end, and a blue, because it's short, a blue Termalink. And if that was coming down from my rod tip down to that swivel, we just clip that hook snood on, and we've got our weight that's free to run. Let's just get one. I'm going to use a cannonball weight because it might show better on the camera, because it's a little dumpy fat round one. And there we'd be fishing. So when that's lead on the bottom, down from the rod tip, it tends to sit up against the bead and the swivel, but then when the fish takes the line, it's got direct contact through to the rod tip, so the smallest of bites register. It can pass through the weight carrier, so you tend to see everything, and that is the rig. You bait up your hook, you lower it over the side, clip on your weight so it's not crashing against the boat, and gently, under tension, lower that down, bump it back in the tide, and that's fishing. And that I call, affectionately, my Solent boat rig, but it's just a running ledger. What I'm going to explain now is the reason for having 2 swivels. So there's a swivel at the top of the rig, and there's a swivel at the bottom of the rig. Now at the moment, this time of year, we're plagued by what we call bootlace straps, small conger eels. And as they come up through the water column, they spin to try and get purchase in the water. When they come up to the surface, they spin very aggressively, and they absolutely trash your rig. They don't tend to trash this rig, because on the hook snood, they've got a swivel that stops it transferring up the line. But sometimes, if anything was to bind in that position, or if there's a twist or a turn in it, then it would send it all the way up the line, and it would start doubling up your line further up. But then we've got the added safety of another swivel just before you connect to your main line. Where that helps is the fact that everything can turn through the weight carrier via the swivel or via the other swivel. You don't trash as many rigs. You don't trash as many rigs, and what sometimes happens is a medium size eel, an energetic 6 to 8 pound eel, will spin so bad that it'll throw your weight out and you've lost the weight. With this rig, you have none of those problems. Plus you have the added benefit of when the fish is alongside, you can detach your hook snood, deal with it, rebait and put it back out. Or you can have several of these made up ready, baited, and just unclip, clip on and put straight back out. Maximise your fishing time. I really like the simplicity. What I tend to have for 4 rods fishing, I'll have 6 bodies made up, at least 6 of each size, so maybe 6 3 foot, 6 4 foot, maybe 5 foot because it is a little bit long, and I'll colour code the rig by the ends. Absolutely brilliant. I love this rig. It is so simple but very, very effective for down tide fishing. I hope you like it. Give it a try. Tell me what you think. Post your thoughts in the comments. You see me fishing with it on my videos. Tell me what you've caught. Tell me what you've caught. What's the best fish you've caught on a down tide in running ledger like this? I'm really interested to hear. And really interested to hear if you've got any improvements on this rig. If you think there's something I'm doing fundamentally wrong, let me know. Put it in the comments. Love to hear from you. As always, tight lines and happy fishing. I hope to spend some time with you again sometime soon. But from me, now, in the workshop, it's goodbye. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. That's a nice one. Yeah. That's a cracking eel. Give you some idea. He's right in the nose as well, look.